Hello and welcome to another episode of Indie Life Adventures. This is the day 14 recap and it is 8 p.m. on October 29th and we are wearing the same thing we wore whenever we recorded this morning's episode recapping yesterday. But it's so comfortable, and after being in the onsen, I didn't want to put on anything else. So I'm going to take this time to model for you our hotel wear. So it does say Fuji Speedway Hotel, and not only does it come with the pants and the shirt, there's these shoes and these little half socks that look like the track or something. I don't even know. Clearly, I don't have very good balance.
I'll be back.
Oh, he'll be back. But I am super comfortable. And as I alluded to, we just got back from the onsen. It's my second time in the onsen today. And this time I persuaded Nick to give it a try. So I'm eager for him to tell you what he thinks about it, because this is his very first onsen experience ever.
Maybe my last.
Oh, well, no, tell us what's going on.
Oh, nothing. It just might be my last onsen experience.
Oh, because we leave Japan in 2 days?
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Well, tell me what you thought about it, or explain to our audience the process of the onsen.
The process of the onsen.
Yes.
Well, from what I understand, and I'm probably wrong, but you take your shoes off, you put them in a box. There's generally a little token inside that has your number. You take that with you. You can take that and then stick it in your locker. So you move around, go to a locker. I picked the same number for the locker.
What number did you choose?
12.
I chose 11. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got a little excited about that. I chose 11 because my birthday is on the 11th. So what made you pick 12?
I don't know. Fate.
Oh. Now, of course, we're separated during this process because this is a nude experience.
Right. Nude and separate.
Yes.
Yeah. So you find your locker, you disrobe, then you make your way to the showers and you can give yourself a bath. There's a shower, a bath. There's there's two different ones. There's a stand-up shower you can utilize. There's also the sit-down showers that you can utilize to wash your face and hands and all that stuff. Essentially, clean yourself before you go to the onsen. And then make your way to either the inside or the outside onsen.
Yeah.
The inside is basically the same as the outside for me, except for the wall that allows the outside air in is not there, so it stays warmer inside in the ambient temperature around you. But
Yes.
I chose the outside one, and that way you can get the cool air from the outside, but also the heat from the onsen. And you find yourself a seat, and you soak, right?
Yeah, the Japanese bath. So on the ladies' side of the house, the indoor onsen was 40 degrees Celsius, and then the outdoor one was 41 degrees Celsius. And outdoor is a relative term. It had 3 walls, but the 4th wall halfway up was just open to the wilderness. So that cold air from the outside was coming in, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I liked being in the outdoor one because the water was so hot, which whenever I converted 41 degrees Celsius was like 105 degrees Fahrenheit. That cold air really helped make the experience more comfortable. Now, whenever I went in this evening to the onsen, there was nobody else in there. So I had the place all to myself. And just as I was leaving, 2 other ladies came in, but I felt like I had the whole experience all to myself. And then whenever I was there in the middle of the day, because I went at noon, and then since it was daylight, you could see out that open area and you were just looking at the forest, and if there wasn't such significant cloud cover, you'd be able to see Mount Fuji from the onsen. But the clouds were so thick, you could just get glimpses of the hillside. But that view would be spectacular. But tonight, it was pitch black. You couldn't see anything.
Yeah, and so pretty much the same experience. It was pretty empty until about the end, and I only had 2 people that had come in. I think they may have been the partners to the 2 ladies that went
that
into
would
yours.
make sense. Yes.
And one of them had come outside briefly, but then they decided to stay inside. I guess it was probably cold. So, or maybe they thought I was grumpy, or who knows. Maybe they just figured I'd have some time to myself. But in any case, so they both stayed inside, and then I soaked, came back in, rinsed off, and then I grabbed a towel to dry off. Now, the inside of mine also has a sauna and like a small hot tub area.
Oh, mine had a steam room, but I didn't go in there because I almost felt like the indoor onsen was its own steam room.
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe that's the steam room, but it's like a
Okay.
sauna, steam room, whatever.
Oh, and I didn't even check it to see if it was a sauna, but it just said steam room on mine. Maybe y'all have different amenities.
I mean, perhaps saunas and steam rooms are pretty close to the same thing.
Maybe.
There's a lot of wet saunas. You pour the water on the rocks and it steams up, but it's sauna-esque, sauna-like.
But I found it to be very relaxing. I think I only stayed in the water maybe 30 minutes, and it wasn't the way the pool is not very deep. It was quite large, but it had like a seat around the edge, so you could sit on the seat. And if you sat on the bottom of the floor, the water still just maybe came up to my shoulders. So it was just absolutely relaxing, and from the natural hot springs from Fuji volcano, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was great. I really liked it, and I'm glad you gave it a try.
Oh, it was fine. So.
Well, since we've started working backwards, shall we just keep up this pathway of explaining our... Oh, heck, I forgot what day we're on.
14?
14.
Dinner. Well, dinner was right before that. So.
Yes. We tried the Italian restaurant.
And it was really good.
It was so good.
Yeah, so it was much like the Japanese side, where you could either order a prepared course of meals, courses of meals,
Yes.
of a meal, courses of a meal, right?
Yes. They call it a set. So you
set.
could order the set.
You could order a set, or you could kind of a la carte it up, right? So we decided we did not want some of the things that were on the prepared set, so we just decided we would order our own, right?
Yes, and it got me thinking, I haven't been hungry in days. I've been eating so much food that I still was not hungry at our 5:30 reservation time. So after looking over the menu, I decided I was going to only order one thing, having learned my lesson from yesterday at the Japanese restaurant where I ordered one thing from every category. This time I ordered only one item, and it was a pizza.
Then I was going to order some other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I was prepared to share anyway.
Yes.
So, and that's exactly what happened. I ordered the Caesar salad, the calamari, and for my main dish...
Wasn't there two? Oh, I guess the Caesar salad and the calamari.
Were 2 appetizers.
2 appetizers.
They were from the appetizer menu.
Okay, yep. And then your pasta dish.
And then my pasta dish.
Which was divine. It was lobster pasta.
It's like a lobster with a tomato-based sauce.
I don't know what
garlic,
type of noodle it was. It was so
linguine,
good.
maybe.
I don't even know. It was heavenly.
I think it was linguine, maybe a fettuccine.
I don't know. So good. It seems like there was more than just that, wasn't there? Or was that it, just
The
those
bread.
3? Yeah, because they brought us bread.
There was bread.
But by the time we had the salad, the calamari, the pasta, then the pizza came out. And we could only eat half of the pizza. Like, I was already so full because they had brought out bread with olive oil. But even though I was very, very full, I did want to try their dessert because everywhere we go, they have the most beautiful looking desserts. And we've yet to really try a dessert.
Yeah.
And so it was tiramisu, but matcha tiramisu.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that impressed with the dessert. It was kind of weird. It was like instead of cocoa, it had matcha powder all over it. But the other odd thing that we weren't expecting and which kept Nick from being able to enjoy it with me, it had black beans in it. So that was kind of an odd thing to have inside of tiramisu.
Yeah.
But I was like, this Italian restaurant that's been knocking it out of the park on that Caesar salad was phenomenal. And the lobster pasta was divine. And the pizza was delicious as well. But the tiramisu with the matcha, I think that was a miss.
And I tried it, and I guess it was all right. It's very matcha-y. Very matcha-y, right?
A lot of
like
matcha.
All the matcha powder on top of it, matchas it over the top.
Yes.
Matcha over the top.
Concur with your assessment, good sir.
What you do about matcha? Matcha, matcha, matcha. And a little bit more matcha, right?
Oh, yes, there was a lot of matcha.
But anyway.
Mucho matcha.
Mucho matcha.
So that was dinner.
Yeah, well, but I want to talk about the lobster.
Okay,
So,
please do, because it deserves its own special segment on the show.
yeah. So it was very small. It was like, it was small. It wasn't a lot, right? But it was a small piece of the meal, considering that it was just an addition to the pasta. But I'm always complaining about lobster because it's just not good most of the places you get it. It's okay, but it's not that great. And so, what's so funny?
Just thinking of how highfalutin we sound. Oh, the lobster we get is just not that good.
Well, it's not. It's not. It's overcooked. It's chewy. It's not that good.
Okay, it's so funny because I don't think of us as having lobster a lot, but
We don't. That's why, and that's one of the reasons why, is because nobody can cook it well.
got it. Okay, understood. I'm tracking. Our lobster and caviar with our champagne.
Good day, sir. I said good day.
Continue. Tell us more about this lobster.
The lobster. So it was divine.
But it was so funny because he was ready for it to be crappy. Because I was like, oh, this pasta's so good. And he's like, well, we're going to just see how this bite of lobster is. Being a lobster connoisseur is one of his hidden talents.
First off, do you like lobster?
I do. I love lobster.
Right, exactly. And how often have you had lobster that was that good?
Oh, never. This was phenomenal.
Exactly.
It was so good. And
So
just
you don't have
the
to be
pasta was perfect.
You don't have to be a connoisseur to understand when something is that good.
Yeah,
And it was
great.
that good. It was the best lobster I've ever had prepared.
Yeah.
And it came on pasta.
Yes, it did. At an
So-
Italian restaurant in Japan.
That's right. In Japan.
And I will say, I do think this dinner was better than the Japanese restaurant that we had yesterday.
I think there was
I mean, if I had to go back to dinner again, well, I'm probably leaning more towards the Italian place because it was significantly cheaper than the Japanese place.
That's exactly it. She's so cheap that she would rather and she's talking about the lobster.
But it was delicious and less expensive, so that puts it at the top of my list.
Right, but I think another thing is that Italian food's taste flavor palette is much closer to our everyday food palette
Okay, yeah,
than the
there
Japanese
wasn't
food palette.
anything super strange.
Right. And so the differences were, first of all, like we don't necessarily, like we eat squid, a lot of squid, but we don't necessarily always eat squid just grilled, right?
Oh yeah, we always just eat it as
It
calamari
usually comes as calamari. So
or as part of ceviche.
yeah, right. So that's one thing. It's a little bit
Yeah.
different when we order the Japanese meal. Uh, the flavor palette, obviously, of the wasabi and the umami flavors
Yeah.
and all that goes with it, that is not our typical flavor palette. So I think some of your bias is probably how much it costs,
It's probably a lot how much it costs. 'Cause
but also
we overate at both places, and the Italian place was half the cost
That's
of the
true.
Japanese.
Yeah.
So my bias is, I'll be transparent. It's about the dollars, because they both were really delicious.
they were both good.
But if they're both delicious and one is half the price of the other, I'm going with the one that's half the price of the other.
True.
So, all right, and then working our way backward.
Well, we had dinner, and then before dinner,
Was-
we...
The thing you were looking forward to all day.
Oh, well, so yeah, we did the driving simulator.
Yes.
And man, that was fun.
Yes. So
It was really cool.
I am not a race car enthusiast nor a video game enthusiast, but I could tell this thing was badass. So what it is, I'll describe it to you and then he can give you the technical details. You sit in this game that is like a car, and there are 3 full-size screens around you. You have the steering wheel, the shifter, the gas pedals, and you press it and you're going to race. And you're racing around the same track that's right out our window that we've been watching every day. Or not every day, all day. So we've been watching race cars go around this racetrack and watching them handle these turns. And Nick got to play the game where he's on that racetrack doing those same turns in this whole game console where the machine itself is reacting to his movement. So the chair is shuddering and tilting, and it has sound and effects, and the screens just immerse you in the game.
That is true. Yeah, all of that is exactly as it says. It's a simulator. And it's not just a cheap simulator, it's an expensive one because it has the actuators and that vibrate, and you can feel when the tires leave the track or you're on the rumble strips. It shifts your positioning like under power and as you're braking into, before you get into the turns. It's vibrating as your car is sliding and losing traction, so all of those things. And in addition to just kind of the little jolts that you get from the power input from the throttle, as well as hard braking. So it was really cool. And I found, it's a little tricky at first to kind of get used to it because it's not exactly like being in a real car, but so the feeling of speed is not quite there, right?
They should have like wind blowing you.
Right? Like you don't quite get that immersive in it, but you'd have to be driving a car to be able to do that. So besides that, so that's really, and then the whole key is like figuring out your race lines and the braking, your braking points of where you should start braking was tricky to learn. And I switched between a couple different cars. I think I started with a Ferrari and moved over to Z4 BMW Racecar. And I like that one a lot more. It was a lot more stable, really powerful, really quick, but had a lot of grip, and it was really responsive. I think more so than the Ferrari was. The Ferrari just wanted to throw you off the track. It was just lots of horsepower. But I did, however, eventually worked my way through the track a few times. I think I probably ended up doing like 25 laps over the course of that half-hour session or so.
Yes, because each room gets a 30-minute session
Right.
on the simulator machine.
Yeah.
And
Now,
we had to schedule that.
and I
So
probably could have stayed a little bit longer, but it's still going to be a hog because other people probably are eager to get on that thing too. So,
yes, because it hasn't seemed like it's been very occupied while we've been here.
even though it seemed like it's been reserved.
Exactly, because we were just checking to see if we could do it like once a day instead of just once while we're here. And
Right.
but yeah, so we've only seen 2 other people on the machine. But yeah, he had his full 30 minutes and a little bit extra.
Yeah. I did finally work my lap time down to about 147, I think. And that's pretty quick on this track, to be honest. I've raced this virtually in Gran Turismo many a times, and I don't know what my fastest, I'd have to go back to check my fastest times, but I feel confident that sub 2-minute times on this track in most cars is pretty good.
Yeah.
Until you get to like a super formula or something like that, and you should probably be getting closer to like a minute 20 or something like that. But I got down to a minute 47. I was pretty proud of that. It was a clean lap, and they don't count laps that aren't clean. You get your time recorded, but it doesn't register as a high, like your fastest time. So that was kind of fun. And there's also a ghost car that was kind of basically there in the game, and I don't know if that was the fastest car or like just there to kind of guide you, but I managed to pretty much stay on pace with that car once I got the track down. There's still some turns and stuff like that. I figured I'd have to learn a little bit better. I can do it with a controller. I'm used to it with the controllers and figuring out the right lines, but working the actual pedals and the steering, that changed it a little bit. So trying to figure out the exact braking input and throttle inputs to maintain stability was fun. And I think once I started getting that down, I started to flow on the track a lot better. So definitely a really cool thing to use. And I would say that the way this this hotel is set up and how closely related it is to the Forest Motor Speedway place, as well as the rookie race team. The rookie race team has a simulator. It looks not even as good as that one downstairs, up in one of their rooms that they've got. I don't know if that's just, it's kind of looks like it's torn apart right now, but it looks on par as what you see a lot of race car drivers doing their practice on when they're not on the track.
So it was a nice perk to be able to do it.
So it was a really cool perk, and it was really fun because I've always wanted to be able to utilize one of those high-end simulators. And, you can do that when you go to some of these F1 races and some of these other track experiences and stuff like that. But to be able to do it and have it as part of your hotel, I thought was pretty cool. So
yes. But for the most part, today was a very rainy, dreary day. And that took away any opportunity of hiking or e-biking. And we really were confined to the hotel today.
right. So now we necessarily didn't have to be, but with the weather and everything. So our initial plan was, before we got here, we were trying to book like a track experience, and that would have been available today, or no, I'm sorry, Monday when we arrived, right?
Yes. It would have been, you would have had to have done it at 11:30 on the day we arrived.
Right.
But I was under the impression our check-in time was 3:00, not knowing we could have checked in at noon.
Right.
But that driving experience would have started at 11:30. And
So-
had we done that, that would have entitled Nick to take 3 laps around the actual track here.
Right. So that was something that we originally had planned to do, but it just didn't work out. So weather, or we got here, and then the weather was an issue, but we're like, hey, what else is there to do? And since we can't do that experience and so forth, they're like, hey, well, there's
The go-karts.
the cart track, and it's not just a cart track; it's actual, like, it's a raceable cart track where people that are making their way up through the racing, kind of the grassroots part of it, where a lot of your formula drivers, a lot of them start there. There's it's a circuit it's on the circuit of tracks that they use for some of their racing. So it's a real track. It's not a go-kart track that you'd find at Branson or one of your touristy sites. Mm-hmm. Now it is, I'm sure, there's real events held there. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
Real race events. It's a real track. And they have real fast carts. It's not the little.
So it's not a kid's go-kart.
It's not a kid go-karting place.
And we had scheduled to use the hotel's loaner vehicle to get there, because it's only like maybe a mile down the road. But whenever we went to go get the loaner vehicle, they informed us that because of all the rain, that was closed today.
Yeah, so I was like, well, that kind of sucks. And then they probably saw the disappointment on my face.
I know.
And so they're like, hey, what else can we do? And so they kind of chatted back and forth. It's like, hey, the Welcome Center for Forest Motor Speedway.
Which we didn't even realize that was there.
Right. We had seen a brochure for it, but we weren't sure how it was connected. Mm-hmm. And obviously we could see it from our hotel room, but we didn't know exactly what it was. Well, it's a welcome center for the racetrack. And so the guy was nice. He got the van. And tell him about the van.
Holy crap. So this is not the same van that picked us up from the...
it's not the shuttle van.
It's not the shuttle van. This van because it was raining, because it was easily walkable, but it was pouring down rain. So he brought this van over. It was a black van. I don't even know what kind of model, make, whatever.
It was a Toyota.
But when you got into the van, it had like black carpet and the two
front seats.
You had the driver's seat, but the next row, they were like lazy boy recliner material. Like it was a piece of furniture like you would find in your living room. Like it was amazing. And even the back seats were similar, and the driver's seat. It was the fanciest seats in a van I've ever seen. I didn't even know they made seats like that in vans.
Right. And the ceiling was all decked out with like ambient lighting. It was like a luxury, minivan, right?
Yeah. It was all leather. Like it was as if the interior were outfitted by the fancier version of Lazy Boy.
Yeah, it's like take a stateside Toyota Sienna, right? Is that what they're called?
Yes.
A Toyota Sienna, throw some high-end seating in it, some nice ambient lighting, make it all leather and smell good and look nice, and that's what it was.
And so he drove us down to the Welcome Center, which was it seemed like the museum here because it had full-size cars on display.
Yeah.
But the cool part I thought about the Welcome Center was there was this place you could overlook and look in on the garage of, is it called Rookie Racing?
Right. So it's connected. It's co-located with the Rookie Racing teams. Looks like their headquarters, and if it's not their main headquarters, it's definitely a part of their business, right? So, but I'm pretty sure it's their headquarters. So you go over there, and you can look across from the Forest Motorsports building, and you can, the two buildings sit really close to each other, but you can look at them and see workers in there on some of the offices that are putting together their plans or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And, on one side of the building, but then when you go across, there's like a sky bridge that connects the second floor of each building on both sides or both ends, right? So there's two sky bridges, and they're basically just rectangle rectangular buildings, and so on one end there's a way to walk across, on the other end there's a way to walk across, but in between the two is a mezzanine on the rookie racing side, right, that overlooks one of their, it's like a garage, but more like they don't have all their, doesn't look like they have all their like toolboxes and everything over there, but it's more like where they're doing inspections, and they're putting major pieces back together or something like that.
It looked
So
very sterile. Like there was no grease, and it was all white and clean, and they were like taking like the hood off of a sports car.
Right.
But it wasn't like a big greasy shop at all.
Right. And so it was, what would I say? Like there's multiple things that were going on at the time. But you have exhibits, like a few exhibits. The part that kind of sucks is that you can't really, you're not supposed to take pictures over there, because it's a great place to take pictures. Like they have all the the information about the racing team over there. They've got different like kind of museum like informational like exhibits that kind of are lined up on the back side of the mezzanine that's on the wall side. And then on the other side, you look over the railing and you're just looking down. You're like on the second floor looking down at the guys on the team that are working. And so over there, we saw that they had their, what was it? It was the Mercedes. One of their GT Cup cars, I think, is a Mercedes GT3, I think, race car. And then they had one of their Formula cars. I think it was one of their Super Formula cars that were down there. And then they had a couple other cars. I think one was it was one of their main race cars, which has the Enos sponsorship on that one. And I can't remember which one that's racing, but it's I think it may be their flagship car. And then they had like a roll cage chassis that was kind of set over there. That would be part of what you would put inside another car. And it was like the compartmentalized part that you would, that protects the driver should there be an accident and stuff like that. And then there was some other pieces and stuff that were sitting around that they were working on. But most of all, it was just really cool because you got to watch these guys that were putting their stuff together, probably prepping for the next race. And in addition to that, the guys that were racing on the track today were part of the rookie racing team as well. And
that part was pretty cool because all day we've been watching these two cars just practice and practice and practice. And whenever we went over there to the Welcome Center and looked through the rookie racing section, they had those same exact cars, like pictures of them and exhibits about those cars. And it was kind of cool that was the ones we've been looking at all day.
Right. And obviously, I mean, they're co-located with the Fuji Speedway. So that gives them a lot of opportunity to come out there, work on get their track time and so forth. And I think it was just fun because it was like they were spending a day at the office in their cars, and they would do, a lap or two, get something, head back into the pits, have their, their mechanics and the team tweak their car. And once they felt like they got it right, they'd take it back out and they'd go back around the track and get a few more laps in, take it back in, have them tweak it some more. And then after they felt like they probably had something working for them, they'd take it out on the track and they'd just burn up like 10 or 20 laps, and they just went around all day, And
it was fascinating too, just to see the difference the cloud cover made, because in the morning when the cars started racing, you could pretty much see the full track. And as the day progressed and the fog settled in, it would cover more and more of the track to where you could only see the cars when they were on the closest laps to our terrace. And not even kidding, by 4 or 4:30, whenever we looked out of our terrace, you could not see the track anymore. It was as if the cloud cover was now touching our balcony.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
could still hear the cars, but you could no longer see anything.
Those guys were getting their work in today.
Yes.
So,
And it is a little bit frustrating to be this close to Mount Fuji and not see it. Because when are we ever going to be here again?
right. So that's the one part that sucked, is that we've been in Japan now for
This
almost
is day
2, well, this is 2
14.
weeks. 2
Yeah.
weeks, right? So we've been here for 2 weeks
And have not seen the mountain.
and have not seen Mount Fuji. We've had opportunities of viewpoints that we
Right.
should have seen it from.
Because even from the metro, the government building, on a clear day, you can see Mount Fuji, and it
Yeah.
wasn't clear enough. Whenever we took the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Osaka, we had seats on the side of Mount Fuji.
Yeah, the Fuji side, which
Couldn't see it
yep,
because of the cloud cover. Whenever we took the Shinkansen back from Kyoto to get to here, we
Gotemba,
passed it again.
Yep, past the same area.
Cloud cover, couldn't see it. And now we are smack dab in Mount Fuji country. Like, when you're in the onsen, the opening looks out to the mountain.
Yeah.
We're staring at it, but there's clouds in between us. So, yep, all this as close as we are and still can't see it.
Yeah, and that's one thing though is it as far as I'm understanding is that it's not actually even covered with snow yet,
Okay.
which is kind of record breaking for them. They usually have snow on it by now,
Yeah.
but I guess they don't. So
And the hike we were going to do can only be done up until October 31st.
right,
And I tried to schedule it for today and was rained out. And I tried to see if we could just do it tomorrow, where the chance of rain is only 50%. But they also said that they wouldn't be doing it tomorrow because of the moisture. And so we
Yeah.
gave it our best shot. We tried, but yeah,
Right.
if
Well-
it's something we want to do, we'll have to come back for it.
and who knows? Maybe we'll have a clear shot of it tomorrow before we leave.
Maybe so, because we catch our departure bus at 9:50, and judging by today, it was much clearer in the morning than it was in the evening. So we're going to give it a shot
Yeah.
one more time to see if we can catch a glimpse. But yeah, so far no luck. But one thing about being confined pretty much to the hotel all day is we were really close to messing up our step streak. Ever since we've been here, we've been tracking our steps in our Garmin, and I'm now at the longest streak I've ever had because we've done so much walking while we've been here. And it was past midday, and I hadn't even reached half of my step goal. I had only been at 5,000 steps. And we resorted to going down to the gym and walking on the treadmill to be able to catch up on our steps. So we each hit our step goal towards the end of the day. We got
Right.
within 1,000 steps on the treadmill and figured, okay, we'll certainly hit it just walking to dinner and back. But yeah, so it's bad when you have to resort to the treadmill to get your steps in.
Right.
What a difference. Like, today was different because there wasn't a lot to do.
We did go to the museum again, and I finished my picture taking of the second floor of the museum.
Yes, he has now captured every single car
So I think I have pictures of every car
that's in the museum.
in the museum
Yes, and in the Welcome Center.
and in the Welcome Center.
I think we have now done, the only thing that this hotel offers that we have not done, there's two things I can think of. We did not go to the swimming pool, so that now means we've been lugging around swimsuits this whole trip and have never once put them on.
Yeah.
So we did not use their swimming pool, and we did not use their spa service, because I started looking up their prices, and their signature massage that they do is $269. And I'm like, I'm good. So those are the two features. But otherwise, I really feel like we've now tried both of their restaurants. We tried their bar, we did the gym, we did the simulator, we did the museum, we did the Welcome Center, which actually technically isn't even part of the hotel. So I think we did the onsen twice. I did it twice. So I think we've kind of taken advantage of the amenities the hotel has to offer. And as we work our way back through the day, let's talk about breakfast.
Breakfast. Well, As you know, we have become quite the connoisseurs of Japanese buffet breakfasts.
Offered by fancy hotels.
Breakfasts.
Breakfasts.
Breakfast is.
But yeah, so keep in mind, the Intercontinental in Osaka set the bar so high. I'm like, there's never going to be another buffet breakfast.
Well, even the one in Ginza was rather good.
Oh yeah, Ginza. The one that was just shit was the what was that place called? Sun something?
Sun Tour.
No.
Tour. I don't know.
Sun something in Shinjuku. But that hotel, the one with the weird bathroom, that one's been the low point of all our hotels. But back to this hotel's breakfast.
Oh, you're so funny.
What?
That place. Yeah.
The one that was so tiny that we had to videotape in our bathrobes on the bed.
Right. So
Sun Route.
Sun Route?
I think maybe it's Sun Route. Yeah, I don't know. I'll put it in the show note description.
So anyway, so that buffet may have been our least favorite.
Yes.
However,
But this buffet this morning, the way it worked, similar to the Intercontinental in Osaka, when you sit down, they bring you the menu where you order like your main dish. And then once you've placed your main dish order, then you go to the buffet to fill in all the gaps. And on this particular one, you could order as many main dishes as you wanted.
yeah, so not that. I mean, it's interesting because it explicitly says, order as many of these egg dishes as you would like. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And there was how many? Probably.
There were 8. I think there were 8 to choose from.
Yeah. So you could theoretically order every dish.
You could.
I only ordered 2.
I ordered 1, and the one I ordered was rice pancakes with this purple berry syrupy deliciousness.
It was wonderful.
Those pancakes, and it wasn't like giant American-sized pancakes. There were 3 pancakes about this big. They were thick, and I couldn't tell
Very
that they
fluffy.
were any different. They said rice pancakes, but to me it could have been flour for all I knew. They tasted the same. But that purple sauce on them was so good. And it had whipped cream and a mint sprig. It was amazing. And then you ordered, the dishes came out looking like something out of a magazine. You had avocado toast, but it came with like this
Poached egg.
perfect poached egg.
Yeah.
Like the most beautiful, perfect poached egg, to where when you cut into it, it wasn't like runny. It was just perfect.
Yeah, and it was so light and fluffy.
Fluffy.
You know?
As well as that poached egg could be fluffy.
Right. But yeah, it was just the melt in your mouth texture, like it, like.
And they really promoted on their menu that these were organic, local eggs that they were using.
But they were super good.
Yes. And what was your other? You had like a eggs
Well, let's talk
Benedict
about the
BLT?
yeah, but let's talk about the toast for a minute.
Oh, we're gonna linger on the avocado.
We gotta
toast.
linger on it. Like we talked about the pancakes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I did not mean to shortchange your avocado toast.
We'll get to the other one. So, obviously, the avocados, the toast and the avocado was good, very flavorful. The egg itself was super well prepared and fluffy. I wonder what's going on out there.
Oh, yeah. You talk about your toast. I'll look. Out on the racetrack, it almost looks like police lights.
Yeah, it was like they had all their lights go on, or maybe they were turning everything off for the night. But in any case.
Yeah, I can't tell. It's all dark out there now.
Yeah.
But the cool part is the fog is all gone. I can see the track again, all of it.
How nice is that?
So maybe there's a chance we'll see the mountain in the morning.
If we could only. And
if we could see the mountain in the morning.
Yeah. So the toast.
Hell with the mountain. Let's get back to the toast.
We'll talk about the mountain later. The toast, right? I think it was almost like it was a rye toast.
Okay.
Did you notice that?
No.
I did. It was a nice rye toast. In addition, plus
to me, it looked like sourdough.
No, it was rye.
Okay.
It had a rye
I mean,
flavor.
I trust his judgment. He's the one who ate it.
It had a rye flavor to it. And then they had little slivers of almonds on it and
Bacon.
a little bit of cilantro. There's no bacon on it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's no bacon on it.
I'm going to go back and reference the photograph.
Well, if there was, it wasn't the highlight of it. So it was good though. It was very well put together. Now, the second one that I ordered was the Eggs Benedict BLT, or something like that, right?
Yes.
The lights are back on.
Okay, we'll check it out again. Whoa, they're all around the track. It's like...
Okay, so remember the lights we saw earlier today? And I was trying to explain to you what they were? Mm-hmm. That's what those are.
Okay.
Looks like they're just testing the lights. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
it's...
because at first it was red and blue to where it looked like a police car.
Right.
But then they switched, and right now they're all red, and so it's all around the track. All the lights are blinking red. A moment ago, they were all blinking green. So yeah, they must just be doing a light check.
Right. So those are the signals for the drivers as you drive around the track. You know, if you have an accident or something like that, they can flash those lights so you know either no passing or everything's good to go. And even the blue light is to let them know that they're supposed to yield to drivers that are faster than them, you know, once they've been lapped. So anyway, that's what that is. But the Eggs Benedict BLT, right? Mm-hmm. That egg was poached as well, and it came with the hollandaise sauce. Now, I would say the sauce itself, man, I wish it was good, but it just didn't have a little kick to it. Like I'm used to having a little bit of kick to hollandaise sauce, right?
Okay.
But besides that, it was great. What I really liked about it was the bread that it was on. It was on some sort of pastry, and that pastry was the lightest, fluffiest, airiest little biscuit of goodness, right?
It was really
And
good.
it was like
It had like a crust.
hint of a crust of like a cinnamon sugar, but not overly sugary.
It was so good.
It was just a tad bit of sweet and a cinnamony taste to it, but it was just very, very light and very good. So
these were just the items we had ordered off of the menu. We still had the entire buffet to peruse.
Right.
And they had
everything.
Yeah. But we've gotten to the point now, because truly, I haven't been hungry in days.
Right.
So I finally got to the point where I didn't gorge myself. I think I only made one trip up there. And so
I did. I think I did the same.
I think we each just had one plate at the buffet. But it was super delicious. I'm looking forward to breakfast tomorrow, but I have a feeling I still won't be hungry.
Right.
We'll do our best.
Days and days I haven't been hungry for breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Yes. When we get back home, I'm seriously going to dial this in because we cannot keep eating this way.
I can't wait to get back home just to be able to get back in a routine.
Yeah. Because vacation is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But just imagine whenever, because we don't have work to occupy any of our time. We haven't been watching TV at all, like zero. And we really just have the whole day on vacation. And now it is day 14, the end of day 14. And you can kind of tell how there is some value in a routine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate my gym time and, you know, my time to walk the dogs and take them around and, you know, I appreciate that.
And we have our one last day tomorrow where we head back to Tokyo and we stay the night in Tokyo Bay and then fly out the next day. And I can truly say I feel like this vacation has been long enough. Like I feel like we've seen an adequate amount of Japan, and I'm happy to be heading home. I'm not homesick by any means,
right?
But I feel like this was a a perfectly long duration of a trip to see enough to feel like it's been time well spent. Like I don't feel like, oh, I wish I just had a few more days. Like I feel like we've had enough.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Could I spend more time? Sure. But at that point, I feel like we need to find an apartment, move in, and start living our life. You
Yeah.
know? 2 weeks I think is the limit
Yeah.
of just winging it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure we could find plenty more to do, but
And it's not that I'm really looking forward to going back to work, but I'm kind of just looking forward to being in a routine again.
Yeah.
And dialing in our eating because the scale is not going to be friendly. Thank goodness we've been walking so much, so maybe we break even. But yeah, I've got to quit eating this much.
Right.
But yeah, so I think we've covered it. Is there any last bit you want to share before we close it out for tonight?
We had breakfast. We did the museum. We talked about the onsens. We talked about dinner.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the racing again all day long, right?
So this has been the highlight for Nick.
In between all of it, right? We go to breakfast. We come back to the room. These guys have been on the track all day long. I mean, the one disappointing thing was when I came back from dinner and it was dark, and I'm like, they're not racing anymore.
Yeah.
They're not out there driving on the track because it's just fun to watch. And it's really fun to watch them figure out their lines, and as they get more confidence in the car and they start to pick up the pace and they're really trying to push the cars more, you can kind of tell as you're watching them come around and as they get more aggressive. And it's just fun to see that and to actually get to see a side of the racing scene that you probably don't typically get to do unless you live close to a track or you have some sort of track experience or you work there or something like that. So with us being co-located at the track, it was just really fun to watch that part of it happen. Because truly, the thing is like people show up on a race day and they see these guys and they're thinking how awesome they are. And they are awesome. They as far as their driving capabilities, but these guys put hours and hours and hours and miles into learning these tracks and driving these tracks and getting their cars dialed in. And that's one of those things that pays off at the end, Yeah. And it's just cool to see that aspect of it, that it's not just about race day. It's about all the hard work that goes into preparing for a race, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like any athlete that when you show up to the game, you're like, oh, they're awesome, but it doesn't show the hours of practice that they put into it. It doesn't show, same way with us in the Army and all of our time, when we've trained for, the APFT or we've trained for
the ACFT.
The ACFT, or I guess now I've never trained for the ACFT, but thank God.
Which is funny because I've got to take my ACFT 2 weeks after I get home from this vacation.
Right.
And in the beginning, I was practicing the plank every day. Like, all right, I'm planking every day to get ready. And then that kind of fizzled out. So I am not going to do as well on this next test as I usually do. But it's going to be fine. I'll still pass it, no problem. But I probably should have put in a little more work. But it's tough on vacation to be thinking about an ACFT. I'm on vacation.
Maybe you'll surprise yourself.
And maybe I won't.
Don't put that negativity out into the universe.
The plank is hard to do if you're not practicing.
You just gotta.
Colonel Kelly, I should have been practicing. If I was at work, she'd be having us doing it every day. Every day, the alarm goes off at 10 o'clock and we all get down in our cubicle space and plank together. So I know I'd be maxing it had I been at work, but it's all right. It's okay. I get to do it every 6 months. So if I don't do as well.
Well, I'm just saying you can't resign yourself to quitting before you even try it.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, don't give yourself that latitude to not make it and just say, oh, it's because I didn't practice. Just do it.
Okay.
All right. Besides that, back to the preparation and the work that goes into it, I think it's really cool and it's neat. And so can't say enough how much I enjoyed having the room with the view
Yes.
and standing on the balcony, and you get to hear the engines of those cars running around the track. And the cool thing is that how many people get to sit there and watch those cars, do multiple laps ever, unless you're, taking a special trip to the track. For us, it was just like, oh, it was a break, Oh, I got a break between what we're doing, so let's just step outside, see what's going on,
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Since we were confined by the weather, we spent the day observing the racers, which I think you were perfectly content with.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I got to race on the simulator, and I got to watch the guys out there, and observing the lines that they took, obviously, and the many a times that I've driven this track myself on virtually, yeah. So it's just really cool. And then going to the museum again and getting to see the significance of the racetrack and how long it's been here and all the cars that have been around and just the motorsport, history, and it's just really cool.
So all in all, for a race fan, this is a perfect hotel.
Yeah. And pending having a race or something, actively going on while you're here, it probably couldn't get much better. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow from Tokyo.
All right. You guys have a good one.